everybody. So, this is my first ever analysis video on warrior cats, either on this channel, on this channel, and actually on my old channel I had a couple about Ravenpaw and Barley, and I think I had one about Jay's Path, which is a very good series. I recommend it. I'll link that in the description, by Blue Jay Artist, who is also a very good warrior cat ranter. This video was inspired by many people, actually. A lot of people in the warrior cat rant / analysis. I shouldn't group those two together. They aren't really similar, but in the analysis part of the warrior cats community, and those people would be Lizard Wizard, mostly Lizard Wizard. Lizard Wizard is very interesting. I will link his channel in the description because he is very, 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 very good at what he does, and he can explain things much better than I can. And the second person, which this video is actually in direct response to, is actually Tenelle Flowers, excuse me, I forgot the little S on that end there. But this video is basically about Firestar parallels and why so many people seem to forget about a lot of them. The first parallel that most people think of whenever you say Firestar parallels is definitely with Scourge. However, this actually happens to be my least favorite parallel of the bunch. These two are half-brothers, as many people know by now, and while that is supposed to be this big symbolism type deal, to me it actually has no impact on either character, because despite the fact that these two are both kitty pets, they do not have anything else in common. Yes, they both went to ThunderClan, but regardless of what happened in their stories, neither of them would have gone down the same path as the other. Scourge is way too emotionally compromised to ever become a great leader like Firestar did, and Firestar is way too level-headed to have ever become something that Scourge had become. There is no way that they would have gone down the reverse path if they had had the same events happen to them as the other. Tenelle explains this way better than I do, so I will link her video in the description, and the other reason I'm linking her video in the description is because she explains the second parallel that I'm going to be talking about. The second parallel that I noticed with Firestar is with Cloudtail, and I actually did not notice this parallel until I watched her Simi Speaks talking about it. She explains that Cloudtail represents everything that Firestar is anxious about: becoming a kitty pet again, becoming arrogant, becoming not respectful about his place in the clan, and not respecting the fact that he was once a kitty pet and is now in the clan, and not understanding really what that means. However, I won't go further into that because Tenelle explains it wonderfully, so again, I recommend that if you want to hear more about that subject in particular, that you go watch her video. Now, the one place that I disagree with Tenelle is that Cloudtail is not the perfect example of a parallel between Firestar. The person that I think is the perfect parallel between Firestar is Tigerstar. Now, I know, that's crazy, right? Firestar and Tigerstar are like polar opposites. There's no way you can compare them to each other, right? Wrong. Let me give you a little bit of a perspective on these two characters. Both of them are very, very strong, and you can't deny that. Tigerstar obviously had to work for his strength, whether you think that that's true or not. He was not born with the strength that he ended up having by the end of his life. And Firestar had to work for his strength as well. However, the way that these two worked for their strength was obviously very different. Tigerstar having his mentor being Thistleclaw, and Firestar having much more respectable mentors along the way. The other parallel that I see between these two is that they both actually have a very similar amount of ambition. Firestar wants to do his best to become a respectable warrior, and Tigerclaw wants power. However, the way that these two go about getting these ambitions and getting towards their goals is just much different, not to mention what they end up doing with their success in the end. Firestar uses his success to become leader as a way to make his clan better and to teach others to be inspiring like he is. But Tigerstar uses his power just to be powerful and gain more power, which is why that these two are a perfect parallel. If Firestar had taken his ambition to a new level and decided that he only wanted more power, there's a chance he could have ended up in a similar fashion as Tigerstar, because Tigerstar, unlike Scourge, didn't have the mental instability that the Tiny had since he was, well, tiny. That's why I think that honestly there should be a much clearer parallel drawn from the fans between Tigerstar and Firestar, because these two actually had very similar goals, similar ambition, and if you really go far enough, similar personalities even. It kind of makes you feel bad for what happened, really. Tigerstar could have been a great leader if he just didn't go bad, if he didn't decide that he wanted to kill for power. If he decided he wanted to work for it the way that Firestar did, he might have been a more respectable leader. But by the time he had become leader, he had already become power hungry and even bloodthirsty, and he only wanted to do what was wrong to get all of the power in the world that he could manage to find. So that wasn't very good. I did my best to explain the things I was trying to, and I really hope I did a good job, but I know I stutter a lot, but hopefully you like this little analysis of Tigerstar and Firestar's parallel.